All right, home cooks, it's supposed to be fall outside. We're kicking off season 2, and I've got 95-degree temperatures outside, so I don't expect you to turn your oven on today. I will, and let's hope that this thing cools off here in just a little bit and we'll get you some great vegetable recipes you can use for a variety of ways. I'm actually going to show you these done with a few finishing preparations, so it's not just potatoes and carrots today, people. We've got beets, we've got pork, we've got brisket, we've got eggs, we got all kinds of cool stuff. Get ready. Okay, I think all good programming needs drama, wouldn't you agree? So we're gonna go ahead and start out with drama right out of the gate. What is it? Which peeler we wanna use. Yes, I know, do you go with this cool one that goes right down the side, or do you go with old reliable, the one that you probably grew up using? I don't know, let's try them both out. So I've got sweet potatoes, Yukon Gold potatoes, I've got beets, and I've got carrots, all root vegetables. Root being that obviously they grow under the dirt, hence the root. People back, until about the 50s and 60s had root cellars built into their house to keep these fresh. This time of year, root vegetables are super commonplace. People do a lot of different sort of fall spicing with them. You'll see nutmeg and cinnamon, allspice, brown sugar, honey. There's all kinds of great things you can do. We're gonna keep this one a little bit on the simple side because we want them to really stand up well on their own as we add other elements to them to create multiple dishes. If I go too heavy on the spice or too heavy on the sweet, then if I try to use it in a second or third preparation, I'm not gonna have the ability to do it. Yes, I am talking with my hands a lot while I hold this utensil, but it's not really all that sharp. So we're just gonna get right down to peeling. There's really nothing to it. Now, sweet potato skins are really pretty rough. Regular potato skins, not so much, and same thing with carrots, but what you're gonna find is that carrot skins, we're going to this one. This one is my favorite. Carrot skins will brown excessively in the cooking process. So while you might want to leave them on there for convenience sake, you really do want to take them off. And then as far as potato skins go, if you're going to do a single preparation with the potato, and it's going to be the only time you cook it, then go ahead and leave them on if they're the lighter skins like you see here. But because we're going to do these in a couple of different fashions, the skin will become leathery in the cooking process, which again, on the first preparation is probably going to taste just fine. But if these were to cool off, maybe have them in the refrigerator, utilize them as a leftover, you're going to have yourself a little bit of a rubbery, kind of tough skin to the potato. So we're going to take that skin off. But I'm going to do them last because if you know anything about potatoes, they will start to brown quickly. So I'm going to get into the beets and start skinning that. I will show you that I did cut the beet greens off as soon as I brought these home. I took that cool picture, put it on Instagram, and then cut those off because otherwise what happens is the beet itself will lose the moisture out into those greens, and then this becomes sort of spongy and rubbery, and really it's just unappealing at that point. So buy them fresh, and obviously cut your greens off. You'll see the beautiful beet color coming through here. You'll see it coming through on my fingers very shortly because that's just part of how this works. But I'm gonna go ahead and keep peeling here for just a little bit. You don't really need to watch me peel potatoes and carrots and everything else, and I'll bring you right back here in just a couple minutes. All right, the messy part's over. The beets, of course, are gonna make their own mess, so they're sitting in their own red bowl because everything they touch, they're gonna turn kind of purple red. All the other root vegetables are sitting down here in a bowl of water to try and keep them from turning brown, like we talked about. Potatoes, carrots, even sweet potatoes will do it a little bit. Otherwise, you start to lose that beautiful bright orange color. And yes, sweet potatoes and yams are the same thing. They're just called different things at times. Here in North Carolina, when we get into the holiday season, you'll find a lot more sweet potato pie and baked yams than you will pumpkin pie because we're not all caught up in that pumpkin spice latte thing, I think. Anyway, so back to the sweet potatoes. So what you want to do is peel it all the way down, make sure the ends are clean, and then just like this with any potato, with anything that's going to be hard to cut, you want to find a side that's almost smooth, and then just take a section off. Now it'll sit. So this way what I can do is slice and then dice. All right, so we want to do these in about 1/2 inch pieces. Then when you get to the end over here, unfortunately, we're just going to have to give some of this away. So really just cutting off a little bit on either side is going to give you that stability we need. And then of course we're going to dice these slices.
And just like that, we've got cubed carrots, sweet potato, Yukon gold potato, and beets in their separate bowl.
Okay, so I was gone for a split second, but obviously that was probably more like 4 or 5 minutes. Not crazy stuff. Obviously cutting vegetables isn't anything too exciting now, is it? And some of you are probably like, okay, you're really kind of wasting my time because I've done this before. Well, let's just keep moving forward. Let's show you a few more things, and then we're gonna get into the fun stuff. So I've got all the carrots and potatoes and sweet potatoes and such in here. This is the bowl they were originally in. I've been letting them drain. Look at all that extra water that's coming out. So what I'm gonna do, just throw some paper towels down in there, toss them back in. Don't want to leave you out, little buddy. And just kind of toss them around a little bit and get as much of that moisture out as I possibly can. Again, a little bit's going to help them steam. Too much is going to turn them to mush. All right. And now, if you look, that is soaked, which means we've just taken out all of that extra moisture right out of this bowl. So now we're going to get ready to do a little seasoning and get them on a pan. Here we go. Okay, so I've got a simple baking pan here with a piece of foil. And obviously you can sit here, smooth the foil down, make it work for you. But there is one little trick I wanted to show you real quick because this is kind of neat. Beets put off quite a bit of liquid. So during the cooking process, that's gonna run all the way down this pan and get into all the other ones. So before you go doing everything that we're gonna do to make this foil nice and smooth, just go ahead, put a little wall in there. It's just a simple crease, then come back, wrap all of this, wrap all of this. So now, when we put our vegetables in the pan, the beets will have their own little space to work in. And I promise you this will pay off in the end because again, that purple liquid going side to side underneath all of these beautiful brightly colored vegetables would look pretty rough. So now let's go ahead, we're gonna get some olive oil going in here. For these, not the beets, just the potatoes, carrots, and sweet potatoes, I'm gonna do just a hint of nutmeg. Typically, I would sit here with a nut and a little grinder and I would do that by hand. But again, we're going for what you probably have in your kitchen at home. And having a little nutmeg, oh gosh, I can smell that already, is never a bad thing. All right, let's get you back in there. We are gonna go ahead and get a little salt and pepper. All right. Okay, now with the beets. Again, beautiful. Only thing I wanna do is a little bit of olive oil. Again, mix that around. I'm gonna go with just a little bit of salt. Mix that around. All right. And then I'm gonna lay down some rosemary underneath it. You'll do rosemary potatoes quite often. We're gonna go ahead and let the potatoes and carrots and sweet potatoes all cook together. I wanna put some rosemary on the beets just to really make them pop, brighten them up in such a huge way when you bite into them. You're gonna be like, man, I've never had beets this good before. So I'm gonna go ahead and lay out the vegetables, give you a quick look before we pop these in the oven. Be right back.
All right, got us a nice big old tray of root vegetables ready to go in. Got that little cubicle wall going up right there between the beets and their best friends. They'll all come together at the end, but I promise you for right now, you're gonna be so impressed how great this does cooking them separately. Got the timer set, started it at 15 minutes. Go ahead. And let these puppies just sizzle away in here. Just getting some color change on there. I'm gonna go ahead, pull the tray out. Gonna mix everything up a little bit, make sure I keep the beets over with the beets and the others with the others. Put them back in. I'm gonna check them again in 10 minutes because we don't wanna go a full 15, we might go too far. But I'm gonna get them stirred up and back in the oven. We'll be back in just a few. All right, we've just passed the 30-minute mark. I'm gonna go about 5 more minutes. This isn't an exact science. The idea is you're going for a color and a flavor specific to what you want. So I want just a little bit more caramel color on there so they're a little nuttier.
All right, oven's cooling down. It's hot as blazes in here, but it's totally worth it because we've got some awesome looking vegetables. Now, one of the benefits of putting foil down on here too, not only does it make cleanup easy, but when it's time to transfer all these beautiful vegetables over, just sort of get everything toward the middle. I've already taken the rosemary sprigs out. Pick this puppy up and just let it go. obviously, I can pick these up too. Yum. And then what you have is this beautiful medley of roasted vegetables. So, what do we do? Well, other than throw away the foil, I don't know about you, but I'm starting to get a little hungry. So how about we put something together and plate up some dinner? I'll be right back with a special treat. See you in a second. All right, I know what you're thinking. So what are you gonna do with this to make it look kind of cool and make a neat dinner out of it? So let me go ahead, just start scooping some of this onto the plate. You can see all the different colors. Dig around, make sure you get plenty of the beets. You'll notice some of the beet color transfers over onto the stuff that it's touching. Again, that's why we kept them kind of separated in the process. Doesn't mean it's a bad thing. If we didn't do that in the oven, we would have had beet juice everywhere and nothing would have its own individual color. Oh, but there's a treat. So, we do love pork here in the South. How about a double cut pork chop basted in my homemade barbecue sauce, just to really make this a rustic, hearty fall dish. Again, even though it's 95 degrees outside right now, by the time you get this sucker going in your kitchen, it should be 75. It should be beautiful. Take a look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? But we're not done. There's more to come. I'll see you back here in just another minute. All right, so dinner last night was a blast. There's no pork chop left, but I've still got plenty of my roasted vegetable mix. So what do? Put it in a bowl overnight, pull it out the next morning, and then, I don't know, let's make brunch. So if you're anything like me, you smoke a lot of meats, you're gonna keep some for various reasons. So I've got some olive oil heating up in the pan. You can hear a nice little sizzle going on. And here is some cubed brisket. The brisket was smoked recently. I put the leftovers in the freezer. And so now in my nice hot pan, I'm gonna go ahead and render this brisket a little bit. A, I wanna warm it up, and B, I wanna get a little caramelization going on. I wanna get it nice and crispy. You can hear it sizzling. Once I've got it on all sides nice and crisp, then I'm gonna go ahead and add some of the potato mix to it. In a separate pan, I'm gonna go ahead and cook a couple of eggs. Put a nice 2 eggs over easy on top of it. I might even leave them sunny side, depends on how they cook. But the idea is, and this is super important for food safety, I crack the eggs into a bowl. You can see these nice little eggs here. And the reason for it is because we get local farm-raised eggs. So these chickens literally live about 6 miles from us. And they don't always get as clean as when you buy those store-bought eggs, but one thing that you will have in all situations is eggshell. So in this case, because we don't want to pass salmonella into the pan, by cracking them into the bowl and then into the pan, we not only reduce salmonella exposure, but we also make it easy to handle any eggshell. Think about it. You put the eggs in here, you're looking for eggshell, you can't find it, you serve them anyway. In here, you have all the time you need to find the eggshell and take it out. Plus, both eggs are in there at the same time, so you don't have one cooking and running all over the pan while you're trying to get the other one in there. You're not breaking a yolk. I can gently enter these into this pan and have everything ready. So we're gonna go ahead, brown up some brisket, and then get ready to add some more of our vegetable mix from last night. Yes, I haven't changed clothes. You probably haven't either. All right, got a nice little sizzle going. Got some great browning there. If you grew up on corned beef hash like I did, brisket is basically that same cut of meat, just handled in a different way. Smoking it versus cooking it low and slow in a brining liquid with some different corning spices. So as far as I'm concerned, this is childhood just turned up a little bit. So we're gonna go ahead, just introduce the vegetables. I'm going probably 2 parts veggie to 1 part meat. I don't wanna make this a meat bomb, especially since I'm putting eggs up on top, but I am just kind of giving it a nice little mix. You'll notice that some of the beet color transfers over to your potatoes and your carrots, which is why I cook them separately. Some of that in here is totally cool, but at the end of the day, you really want each one to shine on its own. I think you would agree. So I'm gonna go ahead, finish this. I'm gonna knock out a couple of eggs and show you brunch ready to go. Okay, so there's few things in this world as pretty as a couple of sunny side up eggs. Take a look at that. Oh my gosh, when I cut into this, it's gonna be out of control. So I put a little bit of green onion on top of the hash after it came out of the pan, slid these 2 beautiful eggs right up on top. This is brunch all day. All day. Like, this is all I wanna do now. How about you? I'll take a nice pretty shot before I cut into it, don't you worry. Okay, I know some of you are like, Jim, this is already enough. You've made an entree, it was a great side, now you've used it in a hash. What the heck else are you up to? Well, guess what? These things keep on giving. Root vegetables are a blessing that you really want to take advantage of. And I'm not saying go buy a bunch and make everything I just made, but watch this. This is so cool. So again, we can take some of these veggies. I'm going to do about 3 scoops worth. I'm going to do something kind of unique here, because more and more you see on television and in restaurants, people are doing veggie burgers. They're trying to make them seem like, you know, they're meat-like, and unfortunately, you don't always know what they're doing to make them like that. But here's the deal. You've seen everything that went into these vegetables. There is nothing here that is foreign or different. Simple root vegetables, simple spices, simple cooking process. I'm just gonna go ahead and run my knife through it several times. Now, I try not to break out kitchen electrics and different gadgets and things like that, because I never want to assume you have those in your own kitchen. But let me tell you this part, okay? If you have a food processor, just run it through there. You want to get a nice chunky consistency because you want some mouthfeel. We don't want mush or paste. That would never be an attractive veggie burger. Some of the ones with rice and black beans, they'll add quinoa and different things like that to give you a little bit more texture. And again, this is really just a rough knife going through. Some pieces will be a little bigger, some will be a little smaller, but at the end of the day, it's all going one place, and that is your belly. So, generously salt this. Why? Because you can't salt it on your plate inside of the burger. So we're gonna go ahead, start kind of mixing that in. All right, and then as we start to get there, I'm gonna separate this to 2 fairly equal portions. Squeeze it together. And then I'm just gonna kind of put it in my hand, knead it together until it forms a small patty. And what we're gonna make is a veggie burger slider. I'll show you what that looks like here in just a second.
Here's the deal. Here's the deal. In a really nicely heated up pan with a little bit of olive oil or canola oil, you're gonna transfer our little patties into the pan. Do it right off of your cutting board. You don't wanna give these things a lot of time where they don't have structure, because they're gonna come apart a little bit. But here's the deal. The potatoes and the carrots and the sweet potatoes and the beets all have starches and fiber that act as a binder, so you don't have to add a lot of other stuff to it. Just get them in the pan, get them nice and hot on one side, gently flip, and get them ready to go on some buns.
All right, I know some of you are thinking there is no way he got those on the plate, but there they are. Lightly toasted bun, beautiful veggie burger. When you toast the bun, one very important trick is you want the inside of the bread to stay nice and soft. So toast the outside, put the crust side down in the pan, give it a nice light toast, maybe rub it with a little bit of butter or olive oil. But this is a veggie burger you can be proud of, and know that you're not putting anything really nasty in your body, because again, when you start making things taste like things they're not, sometimes you don't really know what you're getting. So why not put sweet potatoes, beets, carrots, turnips, parsnips, whatever else you can come with that comes from under the dirt, put it together. Make yourself some root vegetable side dishes and breakfasts and burgers and all kinds of good stuff. It's really, really good for you, and it's a lot of fun to make. So don't forget, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe on the video. Don't forget to check out our Instagram and Facebook pages. Anytime you cook any of our recipes, please, please, please tag us in it. Take a picture, show everybody, show the world. Let them all know that you are a home cook, not necessarily with a beard, not sure, don't know you yet, but hey, have some fun with this stuff. Let's enjoy cooking together. Season 2 is gonna be a blast because we're gonna dive deeper and deeper into fall and winter. We're gonna do a bunch of holiday items. This is not gonna go away anytime soon. So let's go ahead and let's talk to each other through the social media channels, and let's figure out what stuff you wanna work on. I will break out some kitchen gadgets as we get closer to Christmas and New Year's, just because at that point we're all thinking, man, what should I get? What should I get? Well, maybe some of this stuff are things that you need to go ahead and ask for. But in the meanwhile, simple, homemade, easy, fun, and there's a beard. Talk to you later.